Okay, for those of you who are taking thesis seminar, I want to talk a little bit about thesis statement again, and your sections for each of the main sections that make up your literature review. So for the thesis statement, we've talked about this, I believe, in the past. I think it bears repeating. Think of your thesis statement as having three sections. First, your topic. When you talk about your topic, think of it in terms of any additional adjectives that you can use to make it a little bit more specific. So for example, instead of just saying teachers, you might say English language teachers. You might say, instead of students, you might say English language learners. So there are ways of using adjectives, of course, that can make your topic more specific. In some cases, that's going to be necessary. Now, your opinion, remember that the type of thesis statement that you're going to write depends on the type of text that you're going to write. And for our purposes, for our literature review, I want you to take a position. Think of it as a large argumentative essay. So you need to choose a topic and form an opinion around an idea or a claim that is arguable, that's debatable, that there are two positions, there are two sides of the discussion. Because your job is going to not only have to present the original claim or the initial claim, but also the counter-argument and the rebuttal. Think about the argumentative essay that you wrote in redacción, in composition. It's exactly the same idea. The only difference now is your literature review, of course, is going to be on a broader scale. So it's going to be longer, but it's the same idea. Okay, so you're going to want to form these different arguments: initial argument, counter-argument, and rebuttal. So here in your thesis statement, because this is going to be the one sentence, the one claim that's going to represent your entire idea, your opinion needs to take a position. So in most cases, you're going to be talking about maybe a technique, a strategy, maybe some sort of learning strategy, communicative strategy. It might be a certain technology that you're arguing for, but you're going to form an opinion, and it's probably going to be around this idea of helping students learn a language, higher achievement, higher learner outcomes. You're going to be proposing that the topic that you're introducing is a good thing, without using the word good or better or best. But essentially, that's what you're saying in so many words. You're saying that you're arguing for something that is to promote English language learning, or to promote pronunciation, or to promote greater grammatical skill, and so on, and knowledge. All right, and so think of it as taking a position. Now, the third part of your thesis statement, this is where you need to list reasons or ways. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to only talk about reasons or only talk about ways throughout your literature review, but this is going to be the main distinction, or the main way that you're going to divide up your main sections. So think of reasons as stating why, and ways stating how. Think of each of your sections as coming from this third part, this third section of your thesis statement, the reasons or the ways. This essentially is your literature review. Think of it as the main sections kind of unpacking or describing in greater detail what you mean by the reasons or the ways that you state in your thesis statement, if that makes sense. Of course, the reasons and the ways have to support the opinion about the topic. That's how we align these three, but essentially your entire literature review is going to be designed to describe in greater detail these reasons or ways that you have stated in your thesis statement. Your thesis statement is introducing for the first time these reasons or ways that you're going to outline in greater detail in your literature review. Let me give you an example. Let's say that I want to research cell phones in the classroom. So a thesis statement might be something like, cell phone usage in the English language learning classroom. Now that's my topic. Notice how I used different grammatical structures to make it more specific. Cell phones in the English language learning classroom. Now here's my opinion. Promotes, right? Now notice I didn't use any modals. Promotes communicative language learning experiences. Okay, so it promotes English language communicative experiences. Now, I can either state why this is the case or how this is the case. If I say how, I can say maybe use the connector by, okay, by, and then I'm going to list, let's say, 2 to 4 different ways that might happen. Maybe one is using cell phones in the class to peer review each other's work. Maybe another way of doing this is having greater accessibility between student and teacher. Maybe another way is using cell phones. Another way is to use cell phones to communicate with other learners outside of the classroom or some sort of online learning community. Okay, so these are different ideas that now I'm going to create headings for. I might have a heading for peer assessment and students communicating back and forth. So I can talk about formative assessment, summative assessment. Now I'm introducing these other concepts that relate, right, to my thesis statement. Okay, so another way might be, another section that I might have now is how teachers and students, how teachers can be more accessible using cell phones with their students, maybe using WhatsApp, and I might talk about teacher roles as being a facilitator and the theory behind facilitative learning and social learning and maybe even social cultural theory, depending on your preference, right? So this is how I'd like for you to think about your thesis statement, as having these 3 sections. A lot of you have your topic and opinion. Some of you are still working on your reasons or ways that are going to also align with those sections. Again, 2 to 4 sections, or 2 to 4 or ways that you're going to list in your thesis statement, I think is going to be a good approach. So if you can align this section, this thesis statement, with your main sections to your literature review, this is going to be a good way to provide kind of an outline or a map and link your thesis statement. Later, when we talk about your introduction paragraph, this might make more sense, how we gradually move into your thesis statement from a problem and a situation that you're going to develop in your introduction. But for now, focus on your thesis statement. Try to focus on your 3 sections here. Try to focus on good headings that provide enough information, right, without being too general. This is really the challenge that we face, is making sure that our sections aren't too general, nor are they too specific. And then when we work on our topic sentences, making sure that our topic sentences aren't too general or aren't too specific. And this is what I spend a lot of time with you on, trying to guide you into making these decisions about, am I too specific or am I too general? All right, so I hope this helps. Again, I will continue looking at your work. Don't forget also today, Friday, February 15th, your 3rd reflection is also due. If you have any questions or issues about uploading your reflections to Google Classroom, any technological challenges you're facing, stop by my office or send me an email, and I'll try to help.